let's start with something, and I'm happy to see so many young men in agenda sensitization also. And that's precisely where I would like to first associate, relate my, in some ways, my question to you. What does gender sensitization mean to you? It's, beyond what we see written at the back of the authors, right? मैं महिलाओं का सम्मान करता हूँ, right? Is that gender sensitization? If you are loud enough, please speak up. What is gender sensitization? Anyone? Why are we here? You all respect your women friends. You all respect your, women in your families, right? Do you? Everybody agree? How? What are the methods through which one shows respect? Anyone who would like to venture? Anyone would like to say? Yes, please.
Respecting boundaries. Everybody can hear, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
By respecting boundaries of the other person, recognizing that people have spaces and certain spaces should not be crossed. Please, my mother, my sister, or my friend, something like that. And also recognizing that the implication that I respect women, it basically implies that women are not respected. So you have to state it out. You have to make a statement of it. Right? So gender sensitization also was recognizing that which gender, basically towards which gender we need to be sensitized, or that is also an implication.
Absolutely, absolutely. So do we agree on the first point about the boundary? Respecting boundaries. Right. And then what are those boundaries? How do we draw boundaries? We don't go around holding a chalk around it, right? We don't do it. Then how do we create boundaries? What are those boundaries? Acknowledging consent, right? So then, consent. What is consent? Saying something to yes to, and meaning it, and not giving consent to is saying no and meaning, right? So, in that case, how do we then draw our boundaries in terms of respecting women? That if a woman says that this far and no further, don't crowd my space, right? You respect that all the time? Even when you are fighting with her? Everybody does. किसी को मंदिर बुलाते हुए मुझे दिखाई नहीं देता है. But when you sit, the two of you are sitting close together, right? Friends. Boundaries are not violated. In that case, your friend is not saying no. इतना पास मत आओ थोड़ा. ये तो कोई शाहरुख खान का मूवी नहीं हो रहा है कि और पास ऐसे तो नहीं हो रहा है ना. So, if we are drawing the boundary, then recognizing it, right? We all do so. There are two kinds of boundaries. One is the physical boundary that everybody as a body inhabits, what you have just said. Also there is the psychological, emotional boundaries, which also need to be respected. That you recognize the other person, be it male, female, any which way identified, the physical and the emotional boundaries. And this is precisely where the question of gender comes. Is gender equal to women? What do you think? Is gender, that's precisely why I began with those words, that is gender sensitization equal to respect for women? No. Every person. Then why do we, so what, we should call it just sensitization about the other. Right? We don't call it, we call it gender sensitization. Right. What is gender? Anyone, any idea what is gender if not women? One guy, half, 2, 4. Anyone? I mean, you are in the right direction, of course. Anyone else? Any idea? What is gender? The stereotypes of male and female. हाँ क्या क्या हाँ आप बताओ ना थोड़ा स्टीरियोटाइप्स कैसे बनते हैं. Yeah, absolutely. So how does stereotyping happen? Everybody accepts it, right? So in that case, gender is about the perceptions of who is a woman and who is a man. And by expanding it, it's not only the sexed body which inhabits gender, but the idea of being masculine and the idea of being feminine. And then there are many ways of being feminine and masculine too, right? We all talk about the alpha male. You know, again, to go back to the Hindi film stereotypes, Shah Rukh Khan's masculinity doesn't function the same way Salman Khan's masculinity does. Does it? Do the appeal to the same kind of being a man? He has a charity, Salman Khan called being human, but that's just it. So anyway, so gender can be understood as perceptions of masculinities and femininities. Plural. And this perception depends also under the perception of the difference between being, having masculinities and having femininities, right? And the difference, unfortunately, is unequal. That's where our other word, patriarchy, comes in, right? But because the difference is unequal, perceptions of masculinities are considered better than perceptions of femininities. And the sexed bodies get divided accordingly. That's exactly the way you say that if a man is walking in a feminine way, then it is perceived as to be something to be laughed at because it's degrading. Right? So there are ways in which we should be able to understand when we are being part of the gender sensitization process, that we are trying to understand what these inequalities are, and given these inequalities, what violences can happen to those who are in a disadvantaged position. And unfortunately, most of the times, it's women who are found in these disadvantaged positions of being violent. That's where it's important for men identify with masculinity as an ideal form of being to be aware of what the boundaries of being feminine are. Are we agreed on that? In that case, these were the discussions we had 25 years ago in JNU, and there was a forum called Gender Forum, where we first started these discussions, 97-98. I came in this university as a student in 1999, MA first year. And that was the first time GS Cash was holding its elections as part of the JNUSU elections. Student representatives of GS Cash were being decided through the JNUSU elections. And there was widespread fear among young men students that if this goes through and if 2 women students are elected in GS Cash, ladko ki to you can't do. They were thinking in terms of GS Cash as a punitive mechanism. They were not thinking GS Cash as part of a sensitization process. And that's precisely where, when GS Cash started functioning as a full body from 99, the emphasis on sensitization began. That men should not be afraid of participating in these bodies, that it's not important that there is a male view of gender and a female view of gender. That we need to send a man student into GS Cash to look after men's interests. This was something which had to be understood right at the beginning when GS Cash came into it. And this GS Cash was a very wide body. There were 2 student representatives, 2 faculty representatives, there was a psychologist, there were representatives from the Karamchari unions, there were representatives from every, in today's language, what we call stakeholders of the university. And of course, we had counselors and doctors and the nominated members from different, existing bodies of, there would be one person from JNUTA, there would be one nominated person from the Karamchari union, and then there would be elected representatives. So nominated representatives and elected representatives. Everybody came into forming the body called JNU. It functioned pretty well, and I was member of the GS Cash elected members in 2017 when it kind of finally got dismantled and ICC came into it. That's also a long time ago. But the process of functioning on GS Cash was that a complainant would come to the GS Cash office. Immediately the complaint was registered. Confidentiality was very important. A committee was formed. The case would be put through to the whole committee. A smaller investigative committee would be formed with 3 or 4 people from the GS Cash larger committee. And that committee would investigate every detail of evidence that would be submitted by the complainant and the defendant, and depending on that, going through those huge evidentiary material, the committee would finalize a report, and that would be passed through all the bodies, presented to the Vice Chancellor first, and then passed through all the bodies. So why this institutional history is important to keep in mind, that when you demand gender justice, it's important to know what the key processes are. It's not that I'm not saying that the Me Too movement hasn't been effective. Yes, of course, it has done its job. But it also has made it quite clear to all of us that we need to have institutions in place through which such complaints can be addressed. And also to keep the campus free from the ideas of unsafe space. What makes it an unsafe space? So there can be many different kinds of programs. Like I am all for everybody learning martial arts, not only women. That's good. Learn martial arts. But also learn to fight with institutions, mechanisms, learn to fight with arguments. Not all fights are settled in the battlefield. So it's important that you remain in the process of the ways in which institutions are going. Right. So it's not enough just to say, at the back of your vehicle that मैं महिलाओं की सम्मान करता हूँ. It's important to know who is considered as a Mahila, how the ideas of being a Mahila is constructed, and what are the ways in which, if someone is not respected, then what are the ways through which the complaint can be made, and then redressal can be achieved. That's all.